Before we start today's show, we just wanted to take a moment and give a huge thank you to the podcast sponsor, StreamYard. With StreamYard, you can stream directly from your browser, create a broadcast, show comments on screen, and see all of your comments in one place. With StreamYard, you can record HD video and audio. You can even go live with pre-recorded videos. Save, rewatch, and download past broadcasts. You can invite guests to your broadcast from any device. StreamYard makes it easy to run interviews, talk shows, podcasts, and so much more. You can simply get started with your own by heading on over to StreamYard.com. Now, without further ado, brought to you by Mindful Media Productions, you are now tuned into my favorite podcast, The Archives with Adam. Here is your host and my grandson, Adam.
Howdy, partners, and welcome back to The Archives with Adam, where we ride the range of conversation with some of the most legendary figures in the world of entertainment. I'm your host, Adam, and today I'm saddling up for a journey through the rugged landscapes of gaming history with none other than the man who's left a huge mark on the industry. I also have my brother join with me today. But from the dusty trails of the American frontier to the immersive worlds of the video gaming world, our guest today has brought to life one of the most iconic characters ever to grace the digital landscapes. He's a voice acting virtuoso, a beacon of authenticity, and the man behind the unforgettable portrayal of John Marston in the Red Dead series. So holster your controllers, folks, and get ready to ride shotgun with us as we delve into the heart of gaming greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the one and only Rob Wiethoff.
Man, thank you. What an awesome introduction. Thank you. I don't think I deserve that. I appreciate it, though.
You definitely deserve it. You brought a lot of gaming joy to myself and my brother Mike. As we've played Red Dead. I mean, it's been several years now. I think the last one came out 2018, but before that, I mean, we had a long time to wait. But as fans of Red Dead and what Rockstar's put out, it's an honor to have you on today.
Well, I really, really appreciate you having me on, man. I've listened to several of your shows. What do you call them? But your podcast. It's not really just a podcast, though, because here we are. Right? I mean,
exactly.
It's amazing, and I've really enjoyed it, man. So thank you, and I hope we have a good time. I'm sure that you guys will do your thing the way it's supposed to be done. Who knows what happens with me, man? We'll see. We'll find out.
Definitely. And this is my brother's first episode ever. I've been wanting to get him on, and we finally made it happen. But yeah, before we jump in to, talking about Red Dead and, all of its glory, I do want to take some time to just, compliment you. And even from my girlfriend who was at the convention with me as well, I had explained to her, I need Red Dead Redemption for Christmas. It's coming out on the Switch. I've already played it on the Xbox 360 back in the day. I need this. And then I found out you were coming to the convention. And I was like, yeah, no, like we have to go. Like we weren't planning to go anyways, but you were there as a late addition. And I told her, I was like, we have to go. Like, you don't understand. She's like, well, who's John Marston and who's Rob Wiethoff? And I was like, you don't understand. And I always tell her that, like, you don't understand. Like, that's just my way of, joking with her. But she got to meet you a little bit briefly. And she's like, man, he's such a nice gentleman, a great soul, and he's smiling through everything, all of his interactions. And we sit there, we watch your Instagram lives, and she's just like even in interviews, he just has a great time, and I'm like, no, he's a really nice guy,
Oh man, well, thank you. And I'll tell you what, I truly, I don't know. I think sometimes people forget what real life is, what the real world is. Somehow people sometimes forget. But I am so fortunate that I live in the real world every day. I have a regular job. I've always had a regular job. When I was working on Red Dead Redemption. I was a bartender. I mean, that's kind of not real world, really, probably, but because I really enjoyed it, right? But then I moved almost as soon as Red Dead Redemption wrapped. I moved from Los Angeles back to Indiana, where I grew up, and immediately got a job building houses with a guy that I worked for when I was in high school. He was still doing it, so he hired me. We built a house, and then in the middle of that process, I got a call to go to New York to do Undead Nightmare, and it was interesting because I moved back to Indiana. I start working for this guy who's this old school construction worker, like rugged, hard working dude, and I said, I'm gonna have to take a few weeks off because I'm going to go work on a video game. And he absolutely did not understand the concept. He had no idea what I was talking about. I mean, he probably knew, like Pac-Man and Galaga and things that would be in arcades 50 years ago. But when I said, no, I'm going to be an actor in this video game, he just didn't understand. He had no way of understanding what I was trying to tell him. And so it was a weird thing, but I guess more than anything, what I'm saying is that I am surrounded every day by regular, hardworking people that have nothing to do with the entertainment industry, don't have any interest in it, whatever. And so when I'm in a position to go to these really awesome conventions and meet hundreds of awesome people who are fans of the game, it is overwhelming in the best possible way, because I just genuinely really appreciate it. And so it's easy for me to smile through it because I'm truly happy. The Instagram lives, I don't know how to explain. Please forgive me. I try to, most of the time when I'm doing a live, it's for some kind of an online signing or something. And you have to have a computer that has the program up, and you have to be able to navigate the computer program and also try to be somewhat entertaining, but also the whole time comments are scrolling up the screen, and you kind of want to interact with that, but it's a little too much for me to do all of that at once. So excuse me, I'm sorry. What makes it easier for me is to not try to read too many of the comments, and just focus on getting the thing signed and getting through the computer program correctly, so I don't mess that part up. But by not reading the comments and also talking the whole time, I'm really just talking to myself for hours on end with countless people watching. That is such a dangerous thing to do. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I do apologize, and I promise you, if you think that I'm a crazy person, you're probably right. But I'm doing my best, and I of course appreciate every moment of that as well. But yeah, I think I'm very fortunate that I have this yin and yang kind of thing where I get to live in these ridiculously awesome moments at conventions and places where I get to interact with fans of the Red Dead Redemption series. And then I also really benefit from having a regular 9-to-5 job around a bunch of people who don't care about that at all, because that gives me a taste of reality, which is what the majority of people experience all the time. So I don't know that I would change any of it. I'm very fortunate.
It weighs itself out a lot, honestly, because like you said, you're getting to work with people that don't really care about it. They're just like you, trying to make a living for your family. But then you get the side of things where you can interact with your fans. And that's, again, how we got to, talking things. And You know, that's something I've explained to you even like during the process of trying to get this episode set up. Like, I got to thank you as well for being so communicative, because I've dealt with people during processes of making shows happen, and I will get ghosted, or like when the showtime's supposed to happen, they just never show up type of thing. Or just like, I had one person, I won't even name any names, but like their management team was just so bad. Like they scheduled me, and then when I went to promote it, they like freaked out on me and they just lost it, and they called me like stupid and stuff. I was just like, wow, that's insane. But like, you and I, like, you would even reach out to me and say, hey, you know, I haven't forgot about you type of thing. And, you know, we just made it happen, which it's been amazing. But I told you, you know, like, I understand people have lives and stuff. And again, you know, when I say this respectfully, but not many people know, like, Red Dead's really your top accolade when it comes to the voice acting world, you know. And again, you do work on, you know, a 9-to-5 job, and you're trying to take care of everything. So I definitely have to take my hat off for that.
Well, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your patience so much too, because it is, I'm sure from your perspective too, having gone through situations that you described, I'm sure that you probably thought, oh, here we go again. But I really appreciate your patience. And if anything, I wish I would have been better at communicating. I had your email, and I hate to have, like, if I get texts and I'm done with the conversation, I delete the whole thing. If I get emails and I'm done with the conversation, delete it. Because if I don't, then I always feel like it's part of a list of things that I need to complete. And I never ever got rid of your email. Was the only email I had on my email for that entire time. I mean, other things happened, but then get rid of them because I'm done with it. But no, I definitely really appreciate this opportunity, as any opportunity I get. But I certainly am glad that we made it happen finally, and I apologize. It's a combination of doing things, you know, like regular work and just getting to other conventions and other opportunities like that, but also just to hang out with your family. You get it, you know. It's like sometimes that's more important than anything, and so I like to try and schedule in some time for that as well. So thanks,
Definitely.
man.
Of course. Now, I do want to pass it to my brother, because we've gotten to chat a little bit, but I know I got to speak with him today, and I said, hey, you want to hop on and ask some questions? So I know he has some questions, and you know, we'll kind of kick it off and get to know you a little bit more before we do a little bit more in depth talking about the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I was just been like kind of curious, like, so when you're not on doing conventions or like after conventions and such, like, what do you like to do on your free time, or what does your free time consist of?
Well, so in some of the conversations that Adam and I had leading up to this, he said that you guys had spent some time hanging out on the lake and enjoying that because your weather's been awesome. That honestly, I think I love to water ski. I love it. It's been a couple years since I've done it, but I love being out on a lake on a boat, hanging out. Everybody's usually pretty happy there. You know, you can just go and pretty much expect this is going to be fun. And it is. And so I love that. But I do have 2 young kids, twin boys that are awesome, but all over the place. And a lot of the things that they do are wrong. And so I'm, you know, chasing them around, trying to keep them out of jail, trying to, you know, they're 12, but trying to keep them safe from their own selves, you know. But I consider that free time because I do enjoy that as well. But one thing that happened over the weekend is we had a big storm and a tree blew down. We live right by the woods, and a tree blew down into our yard from the woods. And I thought, Oh no, it's Mother's Day weekend. It was Mother's Day weekend, and I thought I don't know what to do because I need to really make sure that my wife gets the day that she wants and deserves.
Absolutely.
To do absolutely nothing if she wants, but also I really want to get that tree out of the yard. So I guess and it worked out where I was able to go out there and cut it up and burn it and stack pieces that I'm going to burn later, fun family fire night, whatever. But I guess I enjoy yard work. I think I just really enjoy it. I'm one of those guys that after I cut my grass, I stand there and look at it for 20 minutes and really proud of myself.
Okay. For me, I wanted to ask you if there was any kind of project outside of, Red Dead, whether it be gaming, movies, which you were in 16 Blocks with Mos Def and Bruce Willis. You were a cop in that movie. What would you want to work on? For me personally, I would love, because I'm a Call of Duty player, I would love to see them actually put a character in of maybe John Marston if they could get some kind of rights or something like that. Because we have cowboys in that game, guys that wear cowboy hats and stuff, or maybe even a voiceover pack with your voice. I think that'd be crazy to hear, like, John Marston voice calling in a UAV or an airstrike or something, or maybe even something along the lines of, are you familiar with the Waze app?
Yes.
I would love to hear, like, John Marston say, turn right here, you cowpoke, or something. I think it'd be awesome to have a voiceover of that as well,
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, thank you. And I think that I just really enjoy the work. Of course, like you said, the work that I've done is Red Dead Redemption, right? I mean, that's the experience that I have. And I really enjoyed all the people, that I worked with from Rockstar. Hiccups. I apologize. They're really, really good, as we all know. I mean, that's why their games are so well liked. They're just really good at what they do, and they're also really cool people. So I would definitely love to do more video games. And as far as I know, everyone is as cool as them and as talented as them. I don't know otherwise. So I might as well assume, yes, it would be great to work on more video games too. I probably would really enjoy it. But I think, I am kind of one of those people where I'm like, yeah, I'm up to try anything like that. Ways, of course. Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, if people wanted it, then I'd be happy to do it. But I did move to LA to be an on-screen actor. That's what I wanted to do. I had a little bit of success with it, not nearly what I would have ever hoped for, but I did get a taste, like you said, in 16 Blocks. The part that I played was such a short. I guess they say there's no small parts, there's only small performances, whatever. If you hear people talk about that, but I had two lines maybe for this job, and the cool thing was I got to have my scenes with Bruce Willis, and that was amazing. So I did have some really, really awesome experiences with it. I would still love to do on camera work if I had the opportunity. I think it'd be great. But I think probably the reason, just having my family is what's kind of slowing me down, maybe, if that's the way to say it. I'm not stopping. I'm not actively searching for more work right now, but when I started working on Red Dead Redemption 2, which was in New York, but I live in Indiana, and so does the rest of my family, my kids were 2 years old. And when I was done, they were 7. So since I've been home, it took me like 6 months of not traveling to really recognize, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how much I really enjoy my family, and I really want them to know me, and be able to count on me, and all the things that I didn't realize. I just honestly didn't even realize. I mean, I knew that I was gone a lot, and then I would come home. I would go from New York. I'd be in New York for 3 weeks. I'd come home for 2, back to New York for 3, back home for 2, and that was at least a 2-year stretch of the 5 years that I traveled back and forth to work on Red Dead 2. It wasn't for the entire time, but it was definitely like the last 2 years, I would say, for sure. I did that. But I realized, like I said, I got home and then stayed home and then realized, oh my goodness, we've got these kids. They don't know who I am. They don't know who I am, really, and I didn't really know them. So I guess if anything, the reason I'm not trying to go out and audition for things all the time is because I'm really enjoying this time with my family. But I would love to do more games. And if you can get a hold of the people at Call of Duty, tell them a cowboy that wants to do some cowboy stuff.
Activision, if you're listening to this, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, whoever, please.
Seriously, get them in there.
Let's do it.
We'd love to have those packs.
Oh, I'm going to make this a clip, and I'm going to tag them, all of them, in the comments, and we're going to make that push.
Let's do it. Yeah, it'll be great.
So you spent some time living in New York. You pretty much got that city boy, living at one point. How did you like it? How did you enjoy it? I've been to New York one time, and I loved it. I can't wait to get back. But what did you think?
Well, so there's definitely, and I guess you have to experience this to fully understand what I'm saying. But even before, like if you fly in, which is the way I always traveled there, I never drove there. I don't know. I guess I could do it. Driving in New York is pretty crazy, though. I would imagine that takes some getting used to.
Oh man, but I got a story for you once you once you get done.
Well, so what I'm talking about though is that when you, even before you land, I'm not kidding, in a plane, you feel the energy from the city. You feel like it's almost like a buzz feeling where you just like, oh man, there's a lot happening. And you really feel it. And so I really enjoyed that. But again, I was there for short periods of time, really. I also really enjoyed coming back home and feeling how relaxed it was. So I think, I enjoyed both. Again, I've had such a nice balance between polar opposites, right? I mean, where I live in Indiana, there's really not a whole lot going on. There's definitely not a buzz that you feel when you come into my hometown. But it is very, very relaxing and laid back. So I enjoy that. But I want to hear your driving story though.
Yeah, so I don't, when I'm in Seattle, I don't drive. My girlfriend always does. And so when we're at concerts, because I feel like I have road rage, and I'm just like, I can't deal with these people driving slow. I can't deal with people cutting me off. Yeah. I like to go fast, and I like to just get to point A and B so quickly. Yeah. And so, I mean, when we were there, my best friend, Sam, he was driving, and we were getting to our Airbnb. And man, let me tell you, we were in Queens. We were going down the roads and stuff. We're like, where's this parking garage at? And then we're looking, and then we're like, oh, there's a parking garage right here. Like, so the door had to come up. We go down, and this is like tiny space, like maybe no bigger than like a small closet. And we're in a rental car. We get in there, we're having to maneuver around, back up, pull forward, make sure we're not hitting walls. then we're like, you know what? Let's just go explore the city tonight when there's not many people on the road. So I get out and I'm like, bro, like you gotta maneuver this car this way. I said, don't go. All he hears is go.
Oh no.
And he hits the brake or the gas, and then we hit the wall and the car starts lifting up, and I'm like, oh no. Like, oh. And you know, it kind of made us like, man, like our trip is kind of ruined. But no, like we had a blast, you know, like you said, when you're flying in, I flew into JFK. I don't know if you flew into JFK or LaGuardia, but
yeah, both.
You see this? Oh, you did both?
Yeah, depending on, you know, wherever the flight it was, time wise, and you know, whatever. Yeah.
But you see like the skyline and stuff, and it's just like, this is surreal, you know. And then you're there in Times Square, or you're just walking around the city, and it's just like, man, this is the place to be, you know. And I mean, I'm telling you, like food compared to out there, I was just like, man, like you're getting a taste of every bit of culture. And man, it's just it's a place you have to go if, you know, at least one time in your life.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with you, man. And also, you know, the cool thing, like the LA is like that as well, as far as, you know, culture and like the melting pot kind of thing, right? Where people from all over the world are there. And so I really, really enjoyed that as well, because one thing that I learned, and I think this is actually really true, because I think I've talked to enough people, and it just seems to be true. So it doesn't matter where you're from or what kind of culture you grew up in, where you grew up, whatever. I think that there are so many more similarities between people than there are differences, that if we all just spend the time to talk to each other and hang out, we recognize that and be so much more comfortable with each other and get along so much better and all that. And I think that I really appreciate knowing that. And the only way you can know that is to experience it, right? So I think I've really enjoyed that about being in cities too, because you have the opportunity to recognize, you know, there's a whole world out there, and people are really pretty cool from every corner of it. You know, it's just good. I think it's good to be in mixed company and have, you know, hang out with people who are different than you, and just recognize that we all want the same thing, and it's not a bunch of money, and it's not fancy cars and clothes and we all want to be included, and we all want to be accepted, and we all want to be loved, and that's it. And it's pretty simple, but it's pretty cool when you kind of realize that and think, this is all we ever really want. It's all we all really need, you know, and it's what everyone deserves. And so I love that about being in a city too, because small towns where I live, there's not a whole lot of diversity here. People are good people. I'm not saying they're not, but I think it's really cool to be exposed to all kinds of different things. Why not? Why would you not want that? And so I really enjoy that about cities too.
Definitely. I mean, I don't like Washington too much. I kind of want to get back to Idaho or maybe the Midwest or somewhere in the South. And that's something I've always told my girlfriend about. Just because Washington, I mean, you got to enjoy a little bit of time here, right? Was that your first time here in Washington State?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've lived here long enough that I'm just like, maybe I just need a different taste of somewhere else. But what was your experience like with the Washington State Gaming Expo? Like, how'd you enjoy it? Did you get to go out to the city at all? Anything like that?
Well, so I flew in at night. I landed at night, and so I couldn't really see. Of course, I looked online, like what do things look like in Tacoma? What do things look like?
Puyallup.
And Puyallup, yeah. Which I would definitely not have thought that's how that word is actually pronounced. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, but whatever. If that's what you say, that's what we'll do. But flew into Seattle. I think I stayed in Tacoma. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then
by the Tacoma Dome.
Yeah, right by that. Yes.
Yeah.
And so so anyway, like the night that I flew in, I was riding from the airport to the hotel, and I said, "So Mount Rainier, am I going to be able to see that?" Because I mean, I had no idea. I thought, yeah, I mean, like if I'm in the right area, maybe I'll see this giant mountain. Hopefully, I'll see it because the pictures of it look really cool. Well, so he kind of said, it's going to be off in that direction in the morning when you wake up. Look off that way, and you'll see it. And so the crazy thing was, the next morning I woke up, and I'm on East Coast time, right? Indiana's on East Coast time, so I woke up at like 3 a.m. out there. and had slept in, right, for my normal time that I was on. But was waiting for the sun to come up. Well, it did, and it was kind of foggy. So I was outside, and I was looking in the direction where he told me to look, and all of a sudden, I realized I'm looking right at it. I just didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that it would be as big as it actually is. And it was one of the most beautiful, amazing, like, take your breath away things to see for the first time. I thought, oh my goodness, that's it right there. It's gigantic. It just almost looks fake, really, right? When you see it for the first time. But okay, so that was initially like the first, like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Then of course all the people that I got to hang out with and meet, and that whole convention was just full of awesome people, really chill people. I think where in your area people are just relaxed and cool. It seems like, everybody just had this just relaxed. I love that. That's awesome. That's my speed right there.
Perfect. Well, when I'm going down the highway one more time, just in general, I'm going to make sure I get that picture. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to send it to you. Like, because in the summertime, when the sun is setting, I'm going to make sure we get a picture of that so you can see it. But like, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. Especially even flying by it on the plane. That's even as amazing. So, definitely. So I'm going to ask one more question. I want to send it to my brother after this one, but I definitely want to get like a background of the chicken coop because I watch your lives. I should have asked that after you drank, right? I kind of want to get like a background on that because I see all the cool like fan arts that you have posted up. I see, the Red Dead blanket that's on, like, it looks like maybe a couch or something, which is awesome. And I see I see all the cool stuff you got hanging up. Is it a hangout spot or is it legit a chicken coop? Like there's like chickens a part of it.
Well, okay. So probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. I don't even know. My wife decided that she wanted to get chickens and I thought, all right, cool. I told her, I'm not going to take care of these chickens. I'm not going to go out there and get eggs. I'm not doing anything. I will build you a chicken coop, but I'm not going to take care of them because I thought it was going to be one of those things where she wanted chickens, but then realized, the work that goes into it, then she wouldn't really want to do it anymore. Like when little kids want a dog, they want the dog to play with it, but they don't want to walk it. They don't want to feed it. They don't want, I thought that's how the chickens were going to be. So I built this chicken coop way too big, like way bigger than it would need to be. And myself really assuming, I shouldn't say knowing. I really assumed she's going to get these chickens. We're going to have them for a while. Then she's going to be over it, and we're going to get rid of the chickens. But if I'm going to build something, I'm going to make it big enough to be like a nice storage area for lawnmower and outdoor stuff, whatever. If you know, because I thought these chickens aren't going to be there forever, and I'm going to have something that I can actually use. Anyway, so we had chickens. We didn't realize that when you have 13 hens, once they all get big enough to start laying eggs, that means that you're going to have 12 to 13 eggs every day. Man, I don't care how much you like eggs. I don't care how much your friends like free eggs. We got to a point where people were like, no, we cannot take any more eggs. We could not find a way to get rid of them. And we definitely didn't want to eat any more of them because we had eaten 5 eggs a piece every day just to get rid of the daggone thing, you know? So she didn't like necessarily, she wasn't upset about having to take care of them. She actually really enjoyed it. She named them all. She got really into it, and it became like something she really enjoyed, but we were overwhelmed by the amount of eggs that we got all the time. So she found someone that would take the chickens, wanted every one of them. And she said, okay, I think I'm good with that. I think that I've had this experience. I've enjoyed it, but also we got way too many. And if you want them all, take them all. And so I was right in a way. We ended up getting rid of all these chickens, and then we had this space left over. And so not right away, but I guess when I started really doing Instagram lives and different things where I needed to be in a space, not my truck, which is where I currently am. I needed a space outside of my house that was, you know, kind of quiet, like having young kids, noise all the time, having dogs. We've got dogs. They make noise. My wife and I, we're just loud. We're just a loud family right now because we got kids and dogs and whatever. So I had this space and I thought, okay, instead of using it for a storage thing, I'm going to make it my social media room. I can make posts in there. I can do cameos in there. I can do lives in there. It's going to be awesome. So I started cleaning it all up, and daggone, it took a lot of work to get that smell out of there. Chickens are smelly animals, man. But I put a new floor in it. I mean, I did a lot of things, and then I thought, no, I'm just going to have to kind of tear part of this down and redo it. So I did actually do that. Painted the walls like 10 times to make sure that everything was clean and didn't smell. But ended up putting a couch in there and a table and all kinds of awesome artwork all over the walls. And it became the coop. Welcome to the coop. And it was a chicken coop that turned into my chicken coop. and then what happened was my wife decided she wanted chickens again. And I thought, well, you can have your chickens, but you're not getting your coop back because now that's mine and I like it and it's cool. And so we got another chicken coop. This one was like something we found online, and it was like, you know, you put it together and it's got little doors and windows on it, and it's this little thing, you know. But so we had that, and that worked well. We had five chickens in there. So we had 5 chickens with their chicken coop, and then right next to it was my chicken coop that the chickens were not allowed to go into. and then 3 of those chickens got murdered by we think it was probably fox came in.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Broke in somehow, got in and pulled them out and took them into the woods, and they were gone. So
oh, man.
it was a sad day, but so my wife decided, all right, I'm gonna replace those chickens, and when she replaced the 3 chickens that were gone, instead of getting 3, she got like 6 more. So then we realized, okay, that small chicken coop that was good for 5 is not good for however many we had. And then she got a couple more. She just couldn't stop. She went on like a chicken buying spree. Anyway, I got overrun. I got pushed out of my chicken coop by chickens. So now this is the most ridiculous story ever. I'm sorry, but it's true. So I got overtaken by chickens. And so they got that coop back. And so I made another one. And this one now is just, it's not a chicken coop at all. It's just a place where I hang all my fan art that I think is really awesome. And I call it the chicken coop, because what else am I going to call it? That's what I call it. But yeah, it's outrageous and ridiculous. But that's the story on the chicken coop. Daggone. When I say it out loud, when I say it out loud, I realize how ridiculous it really is, and I'm sorry. I put you all through that. But
no, it's great. It's great. I want to pass it to my brother now. Let him do a little bit of chatting with you.
Yeah, right on.
I got a quick tiny one real quick before I ask my main one. How do you deal with jet lag traveling between, like, say, from your hometown to here in Washington? Like, how do you guys adapt to that?
Well, I think it's a short trip. Usually it's a pretty short trip, especially for me because I have a regular job. So I usually fly out either Friday morning and miss Friday, or Friday night, and then I'm there for Saturday and Sunday. I usually fly back Sunday night. So usually for me, it's a really short trip, and I think because it's so full of excitement and just really good times. Excuse me. I don't really let it affect me. There's not enough time for it to let it even enter the equation. It's just that you just go with it, There was a time last year where I was in Tombstone, Arizona, which is a 3-hour time difference during that time of year. I guess Arizona doesn't do daylight savings, so sometimes it's a 2-hour time difference from where I live, but at that time of year, it was a 3-hour time difference. So I went from Indiana to Tombstone, Arizona for 3 days on that trip, I think, and then flew back to Indiana for like 3 days, and then flew to Hawaii for a convention that very next weekend. And that really messed me up because I got just acclimated enough to the Arizona time zone to not, to be able to enjoy the time I was there. Then I came home. I was exhausted for 3 days, but it was well worth it. Then I went to Hawaii, where it's a 6-hour time difference from where I live. And I didn't know which way was up there. I was trying to go to bed at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and and it was horrible because I was there, to have another great, awesome experience, which I did. But, on Saturdays, usually all the people that go to the convention, all the guests that go through the booking agent that I go through, we all get together and go to dinner somewhere. And that's always fun because, you're sitting around with a table full of really cool, talented, funny people. And, they're all actors. And so when actors get together, they perform for each other, which is really entertaining and fun. It's exciting. I get such a great, all this free entertainment that I enjoy so much when I go to these things. But when I was in Hawaii, I had to cancel because they weren't going to go to dinner until like 7:00 at night. And for me, that was 3 a.m. I was like, I will die. if I go to dinner. I'm not going. So that was one time where it really got me, and I hate it that it did, but it got me that time.
And now my main question is and what aspect of portraying John Marston did you find the most fulfilling personally? And was there any like connection that influenced or appreciation for the role, yeah, was there like living life reminiscent of the character's aspirations?
So I think the thing that I like the most about John, is that what you're asking, the first part of the question?
Yeah, did you what was like the most fulfilling part of playing as John?
Well, one of the parts that I enjoyed the most, I don't know if this was the most fulfilling or not, but I really loved that several times, especially at the beginning, working on Red Dead Redemption, they kept telling me, the director and a couple of the producers that would be there would say, it's got to be, a really cool experience to be playing a character that is not afraid of anyone else in this world that he lives in. He is not afraid. He is the toughest SOB you've ever seen. And I remember thinking like, oh, I do love that. I love it, because that's not who I am in real life. I'm not like I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not that way. Some people actually genuinely scare me a lot, but I'm not a tough guy. I'm not looking for trouble ever either. But I loved it that John is this character that is not afraid of anything. And that's really, makes you, yeah, let's do it, But I think it's hard in a lot of ways to really say, these things about this character I really enjoyed, because it's a video game, it's a playable character, and the person playing the game has the opportunity to control that character to do whatever they want that character to do. So it depends, I guess, on how each person plays the game. I could sit down with everybody and pick apart. Well, I wouldn't do that, and I don't think that I don't think that's the right thing to do. I can't really respect what you're doing there, but I think John overall, the story that, that what you learn about this guy is that I think is similar to, not in the same way that we all live our lives. We don't all go around robbing people and robbing trains and banks, and we don't hold people ransom, and we don't do those things. But I do think that we all kind of have a parallel with John. We have different stages in our lives, right? We're growing up young. We're looking up to people who are older than us that we respect for whatever reason. And we want that. We want to be treated the way that we see other people treating them. And if we haven't found a way to make that happen yet, it can be frustrating. So in Red Dead Redemption 2, I think you see a lot of John being just a punk, because he's frustrated, because he's seeing Arthur get all this love and he's not getting it. And he didn't deserve it at that point, by the way. But I think that, we all want that in our lives for real. And then we do all kinds of different things to try and gain, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? You do things to try and to make people, look at you like you're somebody special, or oh gosh, there's a word that I'm trying to think of that there's not coming to my mind right now. But anyway, I think that a lot of us are searching for whatever it is until we finally find it. For John, I think that he found he wanted to be a good father and a good husband ultimately. And once he realized that that is what it is that he really wants, that's his kind of purpose, what drives him, there was nothing that was going to stop him from making that a reality. And that I do have more respect for that than I could anything else, because I think that when we as people in our own lives live that way, not only does it simplify a lot of things because all that other noise is gone, I think it's very admirable. I think that it's really cool to see someone who is fulfilled by feeling, living what they find to be their purpose. I think it's admirable. I think it's inspiring. I think it's really cool. And they're not doing it for anyone else's what is the word I'm trying to think? Approval. They're not doing it for I'm so sorry. But they're not living their life for anyone else's approval. They're living their life because they have found their purpose, and it means more to them than anything else. And I think that John certainly did that, and I really, really think that that's cool. As far as like what I took from John, maybe, and I think kind of the second part of your question, what do I do now because of John? Maybe I hopefully not a lot. I mean, as much as I love playing that character, and I did, and I would love to do it forever if there was an opportunity. I think that John is one of those guys, what do you call it, like salt to the earth type guys, right? Where doesn't have a real great education and has a pretty bad temper. And is not afraid of anyone. So his approach to solving problems is to just go fight people, So I don't necessarily admire that. And I hope to God that didn't rub off on me. In some ways, maybe it did. Hopefully not. But yeah, I think that some of those one-liners I think are really, really funny and well written. So I would like to think that I got some of the wit that I carry around now and try to share with the world. Hopefully I got some of that from John. Some people out there are saying you don't have any of that at all. And maybe that's true, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I guess if I hope I got anything, it would be the living my life without seeking approval from anyone else, because I really admire that and respect that.
I think that.
I was going to say you're definitely living the life that John Marston wanted, definitely being that you're a family man and things like that. I'm actually seeing a little documentary where it's Finding John Marston. It's you sitting down, you're talking, you're doing, your work out on the farm and, the I think it's like hay and stuff, but now it's amazing. So
Well, thank you.
I think you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. And did you say it's Finding John Marston? Is that what whatever it's called?
It was something like that.
Yeah. And yeah, that was really cool. That was a really cool experience. It was weird because these two guys who were really, really cool guys, they came and just on a weekend, kind of they had a hotel room. It's not like they fully moved into our house, but when they were there, which was they tried to be there when we were awake just to capture what it was like in our lives. And so the thing about that is, like, at first, you definitely know that people have a camera on you. You're in your house doing your normal routine, but you know that there are cameras there because that's just one of the most it's you can't be yourself when you've got cameras on you. It's impossible until you somehow get used to it. Which is probably the most dangerous thing in the world, because then you are yourself, and it's not until after the people leave where you think, what have I done? I think that I just acted like actually myself, and I don't know if that's good or not. You know, I mean, I wasn't afraid I was going to offend anyone or anything like that, but I thought I am a complete nerd all the time, and people are going to look at that and think, who is this clown? You know. But thank God the guys that put that whole thing together, they weren't trying to make me look silly. They put it together in a way where I'm not unhappy with it. But thank God they left a lot of the stuff that they got out. That could have been bad. But
definitely,
yeah, man. I've had such crazy things since, you know, I never really understood working on Red Dead Redemption what kind of world I had been brought into. I didn't know. And then even when Red Dead came out, I didn't know. It wasn't until a few years after that came out that things started really getting cool, you know, but like these cool opportunities. But then after Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, it's been a whole different world of traveling all over the place, which has been amazing, and meeting so many cool people. It's I would say that it's like winning the lottery, but probably better. You know what I mean? Because you can't buy the experiences that I've been able to have. It's better. It's got to be better than winning the lottery. I'm so fortunate, and I'm aware. I appreciate it. So
for sure. So yeah. we're getting at the hour mark, and we haven't even gotten into like the Rockstar stuff, the Red Dead stuff. Man, it's just been great chatting with you, getting to know you, and asking you some questions. I want to ask real quick, do you need a stretch or anything? I don't want to take up a whole lot more of your time, so I'm sure we'll make it through pretty quickly, but do you need a stretch? Do you need to run inside or use the bathroom, anything like that?
No, I'm good if you guys are good.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm not doing nothing the rest of the night. So, I just want to be considerate of your time, well, things like that, because I know it's getting kind of late. So for you over there, it's 10:30.
Well, I appreciate it, man. No, I'm enjoying this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Of course. And that's something I wanted to do, is kind of offer like a different experience. So I'm hoping the questions that we're asking you have been somewhat different than what you're used to. And I've done some research throughout and try to avoid asking you the same thing, over and over again, because there's a lot more to you than, those same questions, right?
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
For sure. So I'm going to kick it off with my brother asking you some Rockstar related questions, and then I'm going to follow up, and we'll just keep it rocking and rolling.
Yeah, cool.
Now, starting with day one, say you got the call, now you're flying into the studio. What was an average day to start off recording? Like, what did you do to get yourself prepared to be John Marston?
Well, so the first thing that you do is the majority actually of video games now, probably all of them, but for Red Dead, the series, the majority of all of what you see was done in what's called performance capture. So you put on the spandex suit with the little markers wherever your joints are. And so the first thing you do is when you arrive to the studio, is you go change into that suit, and then somebody comes around and puts these markers on with Velcro, and then you have to go out into a room and do all these different movements so that the cameras all around the room can pick up your markers. I shouldn't be trying to explain this because I don't fully understand it, but you had to do kind of a almost like a dance routine to get yourself into the system, right? So that the computers would recognize that you are this avatar or whatever. And so you would do that. Then you would go into the green room and sit with all the other people and wait until everybody got into the system. And then you would start doing scenes. And so, like I said, the majority of what you see in the game is people were actually having those, just like you would see on a movie set. You know, people would move around and interact with each other face to face. And some of the stuff was very different. We weren't riding actual horses. We were riding 55-gallon drums that were lifted up into the air and had saddles on them. But like, you know, you had to do a lot of pretending, but you would go do your scenes just as if you were actually shooting a movie, whatever. It was
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Except we all looked ridiculous because you got all these guys that are big, tough cowboy guys, but they're all wearing spandex and cowboy boots. I'm telling you, it is. If you could see even the most intense scene in any of the Red Dead Redemption series, if you could see that the way it looked when we shot it, it would not look the same to you. I promise. You would not have the same feel. No. But it was amazing. It was really awesome. But
yeah. What was it like at the Rockstar offices? I know they had you probably sign some NDAs and stuff. So that way you can't really talk about too much, but what can you kind of share with us in regards to, like, did they have a snack room for you guys to go to, you know, an arcade or anything in the building? You know, what like, is there anything like that you got to enjoy?
Well, so, yeah, I mean, it was in New York City. It was in Manhattan, and you had to, there was a guy at the front of the building. Like, you would go in a door and then they would, and every single day I went in there, and this is like not for the performance capture part of it. That was at a separate building out in Long Island. But if you were just going to go work in the sound booth, you would go into Manhattan and you would go in this building, and this guy at the front of the building would have to check your ID. Even though he'd seen you 300 times, he pretended like he didn't have any idea who you were. And then once you got verified that you were supposed to be there and you were exactly who you were supposed to be and saying you were, then you got on an elevator and they escorted you up to the floor that you needed to get off on. And once you got in there, it was amazing. You had a bunch of people that were, there were video games there for people to play. But there were a lot of computers with people really focused in on, some of them with controllers in their hands doing stuff, others doing stuff on their keyboards. It was really amazing, and there were a lot of them. But I think, you know, yeah, they had snack rooms, they had whatever you would need to be comfortable and happy, and if you needed a break, they had comfortable couches and different things for people to do. I guess, you know, they know, like, we want a lot out of these people. We also need to provide what they want when they need downtime. And they did. They had all that. I would just go in for a short period of time, you know, for a sound booth recording session. I think the max you can be in there is 4 hours. And they don't do it longer than that, because if you talk, whether you're yelling or just talking at a normal volume, if you do that for 4 hours, it's hard on your voice. Nobody just naturally does that. So I would be kind of in and out, you know, compared to the rest of the people that work there. But it was really cool. And, you know, people there seemed like they were really happy to be there. I mean, it was a really, really cool environment. And so, of course, you know, you see Rockstar on the wall, and you're just like, this is so cool. This is it, you know. I mean, they've got different offices like that around the world, but to be inside any of them, I guess, is a huge, huge win, for anybody. Is awesome.
I definitely appreciate hearing these stories. I mean, I've had guys like so I don't have the episode out yet. I've been kind of breaking them down to seasons, but I've had guys like John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem. One of my favorite video games of all time. I was like, I freaked out when I heard him do the voice. But I've also had Kenny James on, which was at the convention you were at here, Seattle guy. Voice of Bowser. He was talking about how his he messed up his voice or something like that, doing the Meowser voice, the cat Bowser. I just had on also Jeff Steitzer, the voice of God, the multiplayer announcer for Halo. He was at the convention as well. And he was telling me about his time recording with Rockstar. Earlier you mentioned it was like 5 years. Was that like that was for like the Red Dead stuff? But he told me his, because he did Grand Theft Auto as well for one of the radio voices, as well as one of the FBI agents. He said it was like 2 weeks or 2 months is the time it took him to complete his. But you sharing with how long it took you to complete, I was like, man, that's insane. But you also were the main character opposed to somebody that's just in the game throughout parts. Yeah,
well, and I believe though that it did take him that long because Rockstar they have these huge budgets because they're so successful. Then they use those huge budgets to make the next one even better. You know what I mean? So like any character that you run into that you can communicate with, that you can, have any kind of dialogue with, they want to make sure that if you play this game and you decide to go back and see this same exact person, however many times you want, you're not going to hear that person character repeat his or herself. So they probably have more options for people than people have interest in trying to break the game. You know what I mean? and make it so that they hear the same thing again. It's unbelievable the amount of you think, okay, do it this many times, and then nobody's going to do it. Okay, we'll do it that many times, and then we'll do it 50 more times because then we know for sure. That's never, you know what I mean? That's their approach. And so, yeah, I don't think there's anybody that probably goes and does any kind of work for Rockstar that doesn't spend a significant amount of time doing a whole lot of cool stuff. That's just how they do it,
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna pass it to my brother. I'm gonna let him take the next topic.
You talked about sceneries. How did they set the scene? So like with say like you're going to do a screen action in a sense. How did they set that scene? Like, did they go over like, okay, this John's going to be doing this to this character. We need you to sound like this, or like how do they do that to set the tone of for the character?
I think early on, I had a whole lot of questions about John because when I was given the script, I wasn't given the script in its entirety. I was given it in sections, and that's the way they do it with everyone. They don't give anybody the entire script. You just get what you need to know for that session, whatever you call the 3 weeks that you're there recording or doing it. So because you only get sections that are not in order, it's hard to know what it is that you're doing until the very end of it, where you can kind of in your head put everything together and be like, all right, I know what this story's about now, finally. But you do just ask a lot of questions, and a lot of it for me was I just would keep going until they said, okay, that's it. And then you have to just trust them that that's what they wanted, and they know what they want. So it becomes easy to trust them because you think, okay, well, you're not going to take something you don't want. So for me, though, John's pretty grumpy dude. I had a feeling he was going to be pretty grumpy. One thing I will say, though, is that I learned in a class, an acting class, that they said for auditions especially, but even when you've booked a job, if you're doing a scene where they want you to be really loud and really full of whatever, don't assume that they want half of what you've got. Go in there and give them everything you got, and make them tell you, if they need to, make them tell you to bring it back a little bit. Don't assume they want half, because they're going to see you give half and think that that's everything that you've got. And if it's not enough, it's not enough, and you sold yourself short. So with John and his wild and crazy yelling all the time, I did what I was taught in class, and I gave it everything I had, and they just never told me to bring it back. And so I thought, oh my goodness, what have I done here? Like, I've got that, in spurts, but I'm not running a marathon with that. That's a little bit more than I probably should have tried to do. But did we freeze? Are we good?
I think he might have froze, but we could go ahead and keep it rolling. His phone might have died.
Oh shoot! Well, daggone, I hate that for him, but
he'll join back in. It's okay.
Yeah, well, good. But yeah, there was a lot of trust. You had to just trust that they saw what they wanted to see, and yeah, you'd say, all right, cool, let's go then. If you like it, I like it. So anyway, yeah,
there you go. He'll see it. He'll listen later on or something.
Oh man, I hate that.
So I definitely want to dive into Red Dead. I'm gonna be honest with you first, Rob. I never finished number 2 for whatever reason. Maybe it's just time just got away from me. I don't know. I can't make up any excuse, but I did finish Red Dead 1. It by far was my favorite Rockstar game, next to even Bully. Bully was a phenomenal Rockstar game that I'm now getting my girlfriend on. But
awesome.
I played number 1, and the burning question, I'm sure I know you get asked a lot because I researched and I listened to other interviews, but you get asked, how did you land this? Like, what was the process? And how did Rockstar Games come to choose you, Rob Wiethoff, for this iconic character?
Well, man, the truth is, I had no idea what I was auditioning for. No idea. And my agent had no idea. And I guess probably looking back on it, I'm probably pretty happy that was the case, because I was pretty relaxed about the whole thing. If I had known, even though I'm not a big, huge gamer myself, I know what Rockstar Games is. I've known that, since Grand Theft Auto came out. Everybody knows that, right? So I got an audition from so there are different kind of agents that people have too, right? For actors have commercial agents, they have theatrical agents, they have print agents. If you're like a person that likes to do print ads, whatever. But a theatrical agent is one that sends people out for TV shows and movies and theater. I got this audition through my commercial agent. So they said it's called Untitled Video Game Project. We don't really know much about it, but you have an audition. And I said, so you think it's probably like a promo for a video game that has already been made or something? And they said, yeah, probably. I don't know, but you should go. I thought, whatever. All right, yeah. I mean, there's more to that story, but I can go on, and I won't do that to you. But I did go to this audition having no idea what it was for, and then the audition process was kind of crazy. They gave me this really long, like full page of dialogue, which was, I thought, man, for a video game, for a commercial for a video game, that I'm saying a whole lot. This is kind of crazy. Like, all right. So I tried to memorize this thing real quick before I went in the room. Then when I got in the room, they had a table with a bunch of clothes, like someone's clothes, and they asked me to fold these clothes while I was saying the long ass page of lines that they just gave me to memorize. And I thought, what is going on here? But anyway, I guess that I did it well enough, or at least they heard my voice enough to think, okay, this is the guy we're looking for. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I did right. I do know that they had other people in mind that were well-known actors that, for whatever reason, didn't take the role. Rockstar approached them and said, we would like for you to play this role. And I don't know who they were, but once they learned that those people weren't going to play the role, they opened it up to open casting. And somehow, for whatever reason, they chose me. And I don't know what. But yeah, I'm so glad they did, of course, but and I didn't know what it was until they had rehearsal for this too. My agent called and said, remember that thing you auditioned for? Well, you booked it. And I said, awesome. Well, what is it? We still don't know. So you have rehearsal for it on Tuesday, whatever. So go to this place at this time and you'll find out then, I guess. And I said, okay, whatever. So I go, and once they were able to sit us down, those of us that had showed up that day for rehearsal, they gave us our non-disclosure agreements. And once we signed that, then they told us what it was that we were working on. And it was a pretty awesome moment. A lot of the guys that were there that day were big gamers. They knew exactly what this was. I mean, of course, it was the first of the Red Dead Redemption game, I guess, right? If you don't count Revolver. But they knew what Grand Theft Auto was, and they were like, oh man, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be awesome. And it was like Marshall Johnson, right? Marshall and his deputies. Mm-hmm. I can't remember their actual names, but really, really cool people that you remember from being in the jail. The deputies. Hey, there we go.
Sorry about that.
Hey, that's all right, man. Sorry that whatever happened. Good to have you back. But yeah, that's how it all started.
Gotcha. See,
what happened? What did I miss?
So we just talked about Red Dead Mike, and Rob actually mentioned it's great that you mentioned Red Dead Revolver, because not many people have talked to you about that. Many people have talked to you about that. And so that's kind of like the next question I wanted to have followed up with. And because Mike's played Red Dead Revolver as well, which is a Rockstar game from Rockstar San Diego. So Mike, yeah. I'm going to let you go ahead and kick off the next part.
I was, so you said,
yeah, so we talked about the Red Dead, how he got into it, but the next part we kind of wanted to chat about was the Red Dead Revolver.
Oh yeah, like from the classic Red Dead Revolver to the iconic Red Dead Redemption. There's a Journey fans, like you guys already covered that one?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so there's a Journey that fans have cherished. Red Harlow was the main character in Revolver. Yet there are undeniable similarities to Marston. what are your thoughts on the parallels? Actually,
I have not played Red Dead Revolver, so and I honestly don't know that much about it. I do know I've met Robert Bogue, who played Red Harlow, and he's as cool as can be. Really great guy. But so Rockstar Games, that's a Rockstar game, but I think, and I could be wrong when I say this, I think that Rockstar didn't start that game. I think a different company started the game Red Dead Revolver. At a certain point, Rockstar Games bought that company and then finished that game. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound right?
It does. It does sound familiar.
So, so I don't know. I don't know what percentage of that game was completed, if I'm right in saying that. I don't know, if Rockstar just kind of wrapped it up and put the game out, or if they did 90% of the game. I have no idea. But I do know. So Red Harlow's also got scars, right?
Mm-hmm. Same, almost identical. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I guess we know how John got his scars, but I don't know really that much about Red Dead Revolver. I just don't. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that question other than.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem.
So yeah, I looked up real quick. It says here, Red Dead Revolver was being developed by Angel Studios, and Rockstar did buy out. Began working with Red Dead Revolver with Capcom's funding, which is crazy to hear that. But Rockstar did acquire, and they rebranded it. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But it says, Red Dead was canceled until Rockstar acquired the rights to the game and revived it. So then they're calling Red Dead Redemption a sequel to it. But that's Wikipedia, so we don't know,
Yeah. Well, there is I think there in Red Dead Redemption, I think there is a campfire, which is different than what you see in Red Dead Redemption 2, but there is you can ride. It's either you ride by a campfire, if you get off your horse and hang out, you'll hear two guys talking about Red Harlow.
Yes.
But as far as I know, that's it. That's the only thing in Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead Redemption 2 that mentions anything about Red Dead Revolver. I could be wrong, but I think that. So it could be. It could be. Well, you wouldn't if Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to Red Dead. It could still be a sequel to. It could still be a sequel to Red Dead Revolver, I guess, couldn't it?
It could. It could. What's crazy is Ned Luke. I had seen a couple like Facebook posts where you were hanging out with Ned Luke and Solo in Arizona, where you burnt your kneecaps and stuff at the Cardinals game. Ned Luke is actually in Red Dead Redemption 2. Not many people knew about that.
Yeah.
Do you have a good relationship with those guys?
Yeah, they are as cool as can be. Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, they are they're funny. And I guess the first time I met Ned while I was working on Red Dead Redemption 2. I did work with him a couple days. But I didn't meet Solo until that trip to Phoenix. And those guys are, because they're like brothers, they spend a whole lot of time with each other. And they're both, they both like to jaw at each other. They're just really cool, funny, but very interesting guys. Both of them have very interesting stories, their lives. Solo wrote a book, which I actually read and really enjoyed. I don't think that Ned has written a book yet, but if he did, it would be great. But just walking around with Ned and talking to the guy, he is he is just on fire all the time. He's funny. He's witty. He's smart. He's actually really intelligent. Fun to talk to. But yeah, I really like those guys. I like hanging out with them. I'm going to see them in a few weeks, actually, in another one. I can't wait for it.
See, I've been trying to find like their contact info because I didn't see any of it on like Instagram, and I kind of have like a directory that I reference to get some guests. And I've been trying to find a way to reach out to them. Like some people that will respond back on Instagram, but I'm like, those two plus the guy that plays Trevor, like, dude, that would be crazy to have them on there, you know, and to say some of those lines. Because I mean, those guys in general, you get to play all three of them and you know, GTA 5, and you get to hear so many crazy things. Man, it'd be insane to have a conversation with them.
Yeah. And you're right, it would be. Because they absolutely would bring everything, just like they always do. But Stephen Ogg is the guy who played Trevor, right? And I've met him. I haven't spent as much time with him. He seems to be at least when we're doing these shows, he's always got something else that he's working on, which is awesome. You know,
crazy.
That's what he wants. But I don't know him as well, but he was very, very cool when I met him as well. So they're all great.
Definitely. Mike, go ahead.
Now, after the end of the production and all that, like the games, your job's done with the voice acting, and you've done the Moabs and all that. Did you build like how you said you worked with them for so long, like you build like that brothers, the family relationship in a sense? Did you do that with the guys as well?
Yeah, with the Red Dead guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In fact, we have a text thread that's got right now it has 20 of us on it. And it's 20 people that are going to go. There's a convention. It's an experience more than anything, called Black Hills Redemption, June 20, I think 1st through the 23rd. But there are 20 of us that are just on this thread that are all going to go to that convention, and we talk on a very regular, I'd say almost daily basis. And it's amazing because they're my friends. I mean, they're people that are also castmates, but I've known them so long and genuinely like them. They're my friends. We had the experience of being part of creating this awesome game, and but also because we weren't allowed to talk about what we were working on due to our non-disclosures, we talked with each other because we were allowed to do that. Everybody that signed the same agreement signed the same. We could talk to each other, but we got to know each other's family. A lot of things happens in 5 years. A lot of things happen, and we all kind of went through a lot of those things together. People got married, people died. Some, unfortunately, we had a couple of people pass away that worked on the game, and babies were born. Lots of things happen in 5 years, so we all experienced that together. It brought us all together closely, and we all still are in touch on a regular basis. It's amazing.
Now, to add, sorry, Adam, add on just that question, now I'm pretty sure, if you've seen on YouTube that some celebrities get together for D&D games or tabletop games. Have you ever thought of doing that as well?
I think that a lot of the people. So we've got some of the castmates, members, whatever, live in New York, and they'll get together and hang out with each other. The same with the people in LA. I think they've, gone out and enjoyed dinner and drinks together and stuff like that. They haven't done it necessarily and sat down and played a game, I don't think, but I know that they enjoy spending time together. I think if they did play any kind of game, it would be something that a lot of people would probably really enjoy. And I live in Indiana. I'm the one, I'm the one that lives, nobody's around me at all. So I guess I'm lucky I get to travel and see people at conventions and stuff. But I think that, we'll put that out there. Hopefully they'll do it.
So earlier we talked about voice lines and, like how amazing they were, right? But I today at work, I sat there while doing my work and I listened to, I'm not even joking, 2 hours and 42 minutes of voice lines. Because there's so many that you hear in that game, whether it be single player to multiplayer, whether that be the DLC for the Undead Nightmare or even Red Dead 2. But I sat there and I listened to 2 hours and 42 minutes worth of lines. That's, I think it was 4,702 lines.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know not many people ask you about lines either. Like I do want to know what like some of your favorite lines are, but there was one and when we first met, you and you asked me what's my show about, and I told you it's digging into the archives, right? From my brain to your ears. So I'm gonna dig into your archives of your brain. And I'm gonna ask you because there was one clip that I heard and it sounded like you were trying to mask a laugh, but you had said, "I have respect for the fine lawmen." And again, like I said, it sounded like you were trying to mask a laugh.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I have respect for the fine lawmen.
Yes.
Yeah. My goodness, man. I don't remember that. I wonder if that was in a scene that we did performance capture where we were face to face, or if that was just in a sound booth. I really don't know. And that's from Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead 2?
Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my gosh.
I don't expect you to remember because that's again 4,000 lines that I listened to.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay if you don't, but there was a point like it sounded like you were trying to not laugh.
Oh man, well probably was, but it's hard to I believed you that I said that. I'm sure that you're not making that up, but no, I don't remember it. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. No, you're fine. You're fine. Excuse me.
Were you aware of a connection between your characters of Marston from Red Dead and CJ from San Andreas, both uttering the line, "What can I say? I'm a bad man." What are your thoughts on that? Actually, is there a significance, or is there a significance in the like phrases in games today, or like what stuff like that, or amongst the game community?
I honestly, I wasn't aware of that. So I don't know, but I do think that there's a world, right? I wonder if someday there'll be like a history book that'll say, all right, and this is what happened from this point to this point. And is it the same world? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if it is the same world, there's a possibility that these people are grandparents of some of these games that are coming out now, or great grandparents or something like that. You know what I mean? That'd be cool if it all tied together somewhere. That'd be really awesome. Maybe that's family lore being passed down. The guy's quoting his grandpa. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Ahead,
and then the dialogue in Red Dead is known for its like blunt statements at times, or the humorous nature. One particular line that stood out was "Bet your pa wishes he pulled out." It's quite a memorable line, but could you share any insights into recording that line and the overall process of bringing such a candy character to life?
Oh man. You know So for Red Dead Redemption 2, the majority of the time when I would go into the sound booth, it would be the same three guys that were on the other side of the window. It was like I was in a little room, and then they were in their other room. We could see each other through a window. Of course, we could hear each other because of microphones and headphones. And but there were some really ridiculous things that I would say. But I'm just saying it, to these 3 or 4 guys, right? And we got comfortable, and of course we'd laugh and think that, God, that's terrible. I can't even believe that was written. All right, well, it's recorded. Let's move on and do the next one, whatever. And some of the stuff wasn't quite so bad, but some of it was really bad. Well, so in Red Dead Redemption, because I lived in Los Angeles and these guys are in New York, I would just go into a recording studio, and I would, it's probably went to the same one several times, but I would bounce around to different ones because they would get me in wherever they could get me in that worked with their schedule. So set like that line, I may have said that like as with a woman technician on the other side listening to what I, you know what I mean? So it's like some of it I just thought, oh, I'm so sorry, like, oh my goodness. Or one thing that was definitely funny and weird was Undead Nightmare, when John is coming out of the ground, right? Zombie John, and you hear that like all the crazy sounds he was making. I was actually in Indianapolis in a recording studio, and I've got Rockstar in my ear, and I got a microphone in front of me, and this dude is a technician. He's probably, whatever, in his 30s, whatever. I don't know if he's a gamer or not, but at one point, I kind of, and while I'm doing that, I kind of make eye contact with this dude, and he's in there like, what is happening? I could just see the look on his face. He's like, like, I don't like this, I'm in the other room going, didn't like it. I'm sure he didn't like it at all. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we had so much fun. I mean, there almost every day it would be where your face hurt so you smiled and laughed for so long that your face started to hurt. You'd have to say, all right, enough, like it hurts now. So yeah.
Do you have any like favorite lines? That you have done before. It could be ones that you've told people beforehand, or maybe there's something that's come up over the years that you've heard, or and that you've grown accustomed to.
I think my all-time favorite line is, people don't forget, nothing gets forgiven, because it's in both Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. For one, I loved it the first time I read it. I thought, that's a cool line. I like that. And it's John, he's just pissed, and so it makes sense he would say that. But I think it was in so John was talking to Bonnie McFarlane on the porch of her house, and he says that line during that monologue at some point. And then in Red Dead Redemption 2, he's talking to Hosea at a picnic table at one of the camps, and he says it then again to Hosea. So that's probably my favorite. But I think a lot of people really like the line, "You eat babies."
Can you do it?
You eat babies. Everybody knows that. I don't remember if that's exactly right, if it sounded like that or not. But what an experience! I swear. I swear. I don't think anybody expected that to be as popular as it became. But that was a good one. Have you seen my squirrel? I love that line. John's got his awesome squirrel. I left the gang after the gang left me. One line that I think is really, really cool that nobody really ever asked for this, because I guess why would you? But John says, if you win power, remember why you wanted it. And that's from Red Dead Redemption, where he's down in Mexico and he's trying to help. But there are so many one-liners that are just some of them are really, really funny. Some of them, are just really good. I think cool one-liners. But yeah, those are some of my favorites.
No, it's awesome because I love when your character, like when you would speak Spanish, right? So John, he is known for his colorful language, and is seen in lines like, "You must be the pendejos that I've been hearing about." How did you approach delivering such a culturally specific line with authenticity?
Man, I don't know. I did work the bar that I bartended at while I was working on Red Dead Redemption was a Mexican restaurant. So I would help some of the guys that I worked with. I would help them with their English because they were taking English classes, and then they would help me with Spanish. And so there was a time in my life where I did kind of communicate. I could, at least with these guys, communicate in Spanish, and whatever they taught me, I can't say for sure that I was saying what they told me I was saying. But I think that, like, I will tell you this is kind of crazy. As well as I spoke Spanish at the time, whether I did or not, Javier Escuela obviously is not supposed to be pronounced Escuela, but I read it that way. We did a cold reading, right? And I just happened to be reading it, and I said Javier Escuela, whatever the line was, and I was reading the rest of this paragraph, and I look up, and everybody's laughing at me, and I'm like, what's funny? Like, I really didn't get it, And they said, no, it's not Escuela. That's not how you pronounce it. And the director goes, yes, it is Escuela. That's what we're keeping in there, right? John wouldn't know the difference. And so from that moment on, yeah, my dumbass called him Escuela instead of Escuela, and it stuck. So now you know. Yeah, I guess I don't speak Spanish very well, do I?
Honestly, man, it sounded authentic. I mean, you had some lines in there that I loved. Is John Marston, remember mi nombre?
Yeah.
Hijos de puta. Your delivery was definitely authentic and almost like a native speaker, man. I got to tell you. And my girlfriend's probably going to be like, when did you learn to start speaking Spanish? So,
well,
because I could understand her. I don't know if you remember when we met, but my girlfriend was with us, and she's Salvadorian. So,
yeah, man. My goodness, so cool.
Yeah. So, man, it's been phenomenal chatting with you tonight. I definitely don't want it to end, but I definitely am. Yeah, I'm just thankful for this opportunity to chat with you. But I know it's getting kind of late. Who knows? Maybe we could connect later on down the road and do another episode. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Red Dead Redemption 3, and get John Marston back. But
man, that would be great. But I want you to know I've really enjoyed hanging out with you, and thank you, both of you guys. You're awesome, and I appreciate you having me on. I've really enjoyed it. So, if I can, I definitely can talk to Ned in solo, and I'll be happy to, man. I'll be happy to. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but probably busier than mine. but I'm happy to make them aware that you want to talk to them.
For sure. No, I definitely appreciate that. Even that you're willing to do that without me asking. Even if they have like 30 minutes. I know excuse me. I know we've been going for almost 2 hours, man. But even 30 minutes, you can always make a great conversation out of that and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my brother kind of round it out since he's my guest as well. I'm gonna let him wrap it up with 2 questions here, and we'll call it at that.
As we wrap up the channel here with the YouTube beautiful people, is there anything that you'd like to tell the listeners, or just anything inspirational?
Oh goodness.
Maybe any projects that you have that are coming up that you could share, any messages?
I truly do not have any projects going on at the moment. But I am very happy about that because I'm able to spend time with my family, and that's the truth. So
Of course.
I guess someday if something comes up then and it works out for everyone, then great. I'll be excited about that too. But right now I'm real happy where I'm at. And I guess as far as trying to be inspiring to people, maybe I think that, the people who heard the part earlier when we were talking about living your life, because you're chasing after a dream that you want to achieve. You're not doing anything in your life for anyone else's approval. You're doing it because it's something you're interested in. I hope that people can find whatever that may be for them, and I hope that they can enjoy it because it's your life. And so do what you do to enjoy your life, not to try and make other people think, okay, yeah, I approve, you're cool now. No. Who cares if anybody is into what you're into? If you're into it, enjoy it, and do it for your own approval. That's it. Hopefully that's inspiring to people.
And last not least, but where can our beautiful followers and fans follow you and stay updated on the latest in Devours and connect with you online?
So I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on X, I guess. I post like once a year on X. But my username is the same on all of them, which is, it's Rob _Wiethoff. And that's where you can find me.
Are you still doing cameos?
Yeah, Cameo. Cameos is what is it? Cameo.com, and then Rob Wiethoff. I don't know. You can search people on Cameo pretty easily. So yeah, but I'm on Cameo. And thank you for asking. Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess while we're at it, there's a Streamily, Streamily.com. You can get autographs from a whole list of people, big list of people. And I happen to be on there as well. So
right on.
Yeah, if you're interested in like that.
All of that's going to be down in the description below. And if you are a Red Dead fan, please go get yourself a Cameo. You hear the voice. There's no way you could pass up that opportunity. You hear the conversation that's been had today. And I've seen the cameos. They're amazing. So
well, thank you, man. Thank you.
For sure. Well, Rob, again, great pleasure having you on. I hope we definitely chat here and there. I know you're a busy man. You're trying to make things happen, but feel free to always reach out as well. I'm always here to chat too. So
well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Both you guys are really, really cool to talk with. Enjoyed.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that. All right, Rob. Well, hey, you have a great evening. All right.
Yeah, you guys too. Take it easy.
Be safe.
All right, you too.
I just wanted to take a moment and thank the podcast sponsor, StreamYard. Without StreamYard, none of this would be possible. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this episode, whether you're streaming it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or watching on YouTube. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for many more episodes.